Good evening, and welcome to the December 10th, 2014 Conservation Commission hearing. Tonight's agenda begins with a vote on the minutes, December 3rd, 2014. Has anyone read the minutes?
I don't remember getting them.
Okay,
You
so
probably
we're gonna-
went into your packets.
I was here today.
Yeah.
Huh. We'll double check.
So-
We'll get them for you next week.
and that'll be on to next week.
Next week.
Before I start on the actual permitting stuff, I'd like to remind people in the audience, if you have telephones or electronic devices, please silence them. If you want to make a comment, we're more than happy to have you make a comment, but to do so, we'd like you to come up to the podium, address who you are for the record, and then make your comments through the chair. First is request to continue under a determination of applicability. The 10 Chappaquiddick Road, West Falmouth.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, they would like a one-week continuance.
That's to December 17th.
Correct.
So moved.
Second,
That's Russell's motion. Mary's second for a continuation on the 10 Chappaquiddick Road. And is there any discussion on the board? Is there any in the audience on this project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 402 Wild Harbor Road, North Falmouth, Mass.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Again, the applicant is requesting a one-week continuance until December 17th.
so moved.
Second.
That would be Mary's motion and Russell's second. Is there any discussion on the board? Is there any discussion in the audience on this project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is request for determination of applicability. This is the lesser of the two permits that are here tonight. A negative determination means that the project goes forward without any further permitting necessary. It's decided between staff, reviews the project, presents it to us, and we vote on it. So if you want your project to move forward, you want a negative determination. First is Falmouth Harbor Walkway LLC, 26 Robbins Road, Falmouth, Mass., for permission to construct a recently removed pool in a new footprint, install a spa, and expand the concrete patio pool footprint.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the staff has reviewed the project. We are recommending a -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
That'd be Michael's motion, Mary's second. Is there any discussion on the board about this? Is there any
I have
Yes.
just a question for Jen. Do you know if there was, you guys are going to be there on a site visit,
Yeah, they're going to have a site visit with us and also with Chuck and everything.
and there's the, I know Mark was concerned about the concrete pipe that's going under the road. You feel comfortable with addressing all of that stuff?
Mark will address that on site with the contractor. They've already spoken to them about it.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any further discussion in the audience on this project? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 9 Bournes Pond Road, East Falmouth, Mass., for permission to remove the existing unpermitted pipes, replace 105 linear feet of dock seaward, which includes decking and railings, install a 6x6 float, 6 foot by 6 foot float, 4 foot by 6 foot float, 3 foot by 16 foot ramp, replace 12 4-inch by 6-inch posts with 10-inch diameter pilings, and the first 90 plus or minus linear feet to remain, but with the request to replace the decking and the railings.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just the staff reviewed the project. It's actually, it sounds like a lot, but it's an existing structure that's damaged on the end, so they have to remove the end part. They will not be installing those 10-inch diameter pilings, correct? They're going to go back to the original post construction that it was, and when they replace the decking over the marsh, we would like the light penetrating grating over that when they do that. So with that, we're recommending a -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed. But it will not have pilings.
So moved.
Second.
Mike's motion, Mary's second. Not for nothing, but as you had said, this seems like a lot, but actually wasn't. And this was done under an RDA, so that legitimate requests of activities like this don't have to be that complicated.
Nope, it has a license, it has an order of conditions on it. I don't have the pictures of the damaged dog.
I just want people to realize that this is a very much a permittable activity, and it didn't have to be extensive to do it.
No.
So, it's just one of those things, sometimes listen to your engineer. Any further comment on the board?
That's not.
Is there any comment in the audience about this project? Okay, seeing none, I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next one was continued, and then there's a continued after that. So now we are going to request for a hearing under notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. First up is 77 Minot Road, East Falmouth, Mass., for permission to enhance 90 linear feet of concrete seawall, which includes placement of granite boulders on top of the existing riprap, repair cracks in a concrete seawall capstone epoxy mortared to the top of the concrete seawall, place beach sand behind the seawall, and replant 2 areas of beach grass and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, it's fine. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm Jeff Bryther with BSS Design, representing Paul Eggerman this evening. This is at 77 Minot Road, East Falmouth, at the corner or intersection of Minot Road. This is the paved Mara Vista Road here. This is the beach end of Mara Vista Ave. So this is an existing house rebuilt. It's, if you noticed, if you went to the site, you'd see it was elevated up. It's above the velocity flood zone. Yes, the lot is in a V zone. It's labeled here VE elevation 15. And that line is off the site, so I don't even show a line in this case. So again, existing house, gravel driveway, septic here with a pump chamber to an elevated leach field. We have an area of beach grass here and here that are existing. An area behind the wall is sand, and it's been eroded out by wave action coming over the wall. There's about a foot or so of exposed wall on the back side. Give you some photographs. Pass that down there. I have another one of these same photos.
Thank you.
That's for the record.
Sure.
One of them anyway.
It has a label on top for the address. So, out south of the main concrete cement wall is a riprap and a groin. The groin is on the town land. The riprap starts on this slice and starts here and goes over to this lot line here. The license number is on the plan. It's right labeled here. It's 12,202. It was actually prepared by Falmouth Engineering. Again, wrapping around the entire lot on the waterfront is a cement concrete wall, reinforced. It is cracked in about 7 places. If you were out there and saw those, you'd see there's spalled open cracks on both sides of the walls, and some of the sand is actually washing through the cracks. So again, out in front of the concrete wall is the riprap wall. Again, in that same license and in the notice of intent, there's the written and graphical representation of that. So the project is to repair those spalled areas on the wall, especially the cracks, and put a capstone on there and actually epoxy mortar that down. That cap only goes from here to here, not on the returns. It's to dress out the wall. You'll see in the photographs that it's kind of rounded off and it's starting to get a little bit beat up. So we're trying to repair the spalled areas on the side and then do the same, the crack repair and the new cap. Also part of the project is to put a seasonal, this will be wooden, stair over the riprap so you can go down to the wall without falling into the riprap. It is a little bit dangerous to get down that way, but that's how he goes out for a swim. Just kind of finds his way down to the beach, but he'd rather have a seasonal safe walkway with a handrail. And then directly behind the wall is a fill area, about 25 cubic yards, I figure, in this area. We want to use something very compatible and plant beach grass on both sides, leaving this beach area here for chairs and so forth for sunbathing. A little area that's not vegetated. This the high water mark does come up into here, so there's not really room at high tide to put out a chair down here. So the cross-section shows, it shows the fill, the planting, the spec for the planting, the cap on the wall, the crack repair, and this riprap covering that we want to place on top of the licensed stonework to sort of fill in the gaps. You'll see that in the photographs, the wall is sort of splayed open, and there's gaps, and we want to just fill in those gaps. Not a complete rebuild, except for there will be moving up rock to get to some of those cracks I've talked about, if we want to go below grade and get those cracks, and then put the stonework back. So again, looking at the cross-section kind of spells it out quick. It has every item in there that we're proposing on the project, except for the stairway. And the stairway is 4 foot wide. That about wraps it up.
Thank you.
Okay?
Jen,
No questions.
start with you, John.
The steps that are there, when you mean seasonal, they come out or are they permanent installation?
Yeah, they come out for 3 seasons, basically. There for the summer.
In there in the summertime when you, okay.
Yeah, they'll be bolted into place.
Mike?
There are at least 2 weep holes through that concrete wall. You're putting sand on top, so if they're doing anything, I don't think it's going to hurt it. But I'm always a little concerned about the loading you're putting on if your little holes aren't working. Given the age of the wall, I suppose I'm dreaming, but
You're talking for drainage, the weep holes.
there are weep holes through the wall.
I've seen those kind of down a ways. Yeah,
Yeah, I assume that's
but
what
they're
they are.
covered up on the top, correct?
Some of them are and
Yeah.
some of them aren't.
Oh, maybe they've opened up. I only saw them from the face. But that is, it's a
What
sandbag.
we're putting is on sand on top, so that it isn't going to impede ponding, it isn't going to cause ponding any more than it is.
I think it'll actually help with ponding, because now it's walled out, and I think there's an area for the seawater to get hung up.
Okay. Sounds like a reasonable project to me. I'm happy.
Russ?
Jeff, the construction access, you're gonna have to put a pretty large excavator in there, aren't they?
Yeah, they're gonna have to put some mats, I would think, down. That could be a condition, I would, no problem with that.
And just restore it all back to what it is, because it is kind of nice in there.
I mean, we'd like to go over the town, but we don't want to damage the drawing either, so,
Yeah.
the idea is to do it from, basically from the area that's disturbed. There will have to be a little bit of work in this area with,
And then just run that, the whole distance of the wall, right, for the stone? So they'll be bringing dump trucks in there too?
yes,
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
at least to driveway,
Yeah.
you can haul them down with a small machine.
Okay, and I'm assuming that that's probably gonna be a pressure-treated walkway
And that's-
upstairs.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a heavy piece of material to bring in every year. And what are they gonna do, take it up to the house and tie it down? They're not gonna just leave it on the,
I think there's room in there, they have a two-car garage there,
Yeah.
they could leave it inside.
okay, I'm all set.
Mary?
What's the thickness of the capstone that you're talking about?
That's a good question. We're talking about 4 inches by 20-inch square, so they can be easily sort of worked into place. Went to J&J Materials out of Cassett, or maybe that's Katomet, I'm not sure which one. And they did have some of these stones there. And I did photograph them, but I don't have them with me tonight.
Okay. That's all, thank you.
Okay, Mario?
So by enhancement of the stone riprap, you're basically talking about a repair and rehabilitation, not an enlargement over the licensed area.
Right, it's on top, so it's really going to be above the high water mark, that's my goal,
Okay.
Again, the photographs show where the high water mark is. It's further down than you think, but during storms, certainly with a moon tide, it comes up and then slams against the wall and starts that erosion action. So, again, going back to your question, Mario, it's just, we don't want to make a smooth riprap wall where the water comes flowing over the sloped wall. We want to, it's shown graphically, kind of placed into the voids to, to actually, I say, to dissipate the wave energy. So it's still sort of an open face, but not a dumpstone wall.
Okay. Not to be a wise guy, how do you determine the nativity of granite? Because you referenced native
The
granite.
native, well, that's
And
going to
I'm
be
saying,
more
does
on
that
the,
mean that they're from the Cape, or Massachusetts, or?
well, it'd be, hopefully matching what's there is a pink granite boulder, probably broken down.
Okay. No, just curious. I see that.
It has a different texture when you put it in oatmeal, too. Overall, I don't have a lot of issue with this. I do have a couple of concerns. In the past, when we don't have, there's no profile of the step.
Pardon me?
There's no profile of the step. There's just that,
Yeah.
and I'd feel better if there was something submitted that showed the actual dimensions of the step and the mechanical connection that you referenced, so that if this was received by a contractor, there's no guideline per se. There is, but there isn't. I want, for your sake, for compliance sake, I'd just like to see that cleared up, okay? Because I didn't know that there was handrails there, and that affects things as well. That's only a few more bolts, but you're pulling it apart, but it is a handrail. Is it 2 handrails? Next thing you know, somebody's got a flower pot on there. And this happened to us in North Falmouth. You know, it went from being something that we had approved to something that totally came out. And I don't want to see that happen, you know, because I don't have an issue with it. And I do think that even though it's two strong guys and a little guy can probably get it up and then put it on rollers and get it across the lawn without too much problem. But it's going to be,
The project.
it's going to
Yeah.
be substantial to lift, particularly if you want it to last. So I know that you can creatively do that. I don't know if anybody else has a problem with that, but
We keep it light by maybe just having the side stringers instead of that third.
Yep.
And,
That's up to
Design it.
the engineer. I'm going to leave that in your capable hands. You know, that design is on you.
seems fair.
The stone, I just need to have a dimension on the plan as well. It says 20 inches wide, but the thickness is going to have to be, so that we have an absolute on
Just
that
the
top.
cap.
The capstone. Yep. Again, just so that when the compliance comes up, if you had to, you couldn't get native pink and 4-inch, and the only thing that was available was a 6-inch, that at least we know.
Okay.
So I think those could be submitted, those corrections. I don't see that being anything to hold this up. Do you, Jen?
No, that's fine, except if the design of the stairs is, the stairs are gonna have to be removable. That's a velocity zone.
Yes.
Yeah, so
That-
they'll
and
have
that-
to be removable, so they're gonna have to be designed and built in a way that they can be removed. Okay, so if
That
you
they
can get me
shall-
that design, we can close the hearing.
Oh, yeah, we'll get you that, sure.
Okay,
Okay. So that they shall be removed in that
there's already a
winter.
special condition written in my notes.
Super duper. With all this wonderful discussion, before I open up to the audience, is there any other discussion on the board? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this project? I would entertain a motion.
Move to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
Mary's motion, Mike's second. Any further comment? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Should we put the caveat in there that he submits the stair plan and
And he did
Within the
agree to
motion.
that. If we want to put the caveat,
in the motion? Yeah.
yes, please. I think that's understood. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Jeff,
Great.
good one.
Thanks, Jeff.
See you next week.
Yes, you will. This is one I've been looking forward to. Request to amend the existing order of conditions.
Oh, you read
You don't have to read all that.
No, I'm gonna do it my way. I've been practicing all day. Town of Falmouth. That's it?
Okay,
It's the Town of Falmouth dredging. For those at home that can't see, there's about 16 lines of map numbers, and I just don't have the tongue or time to do that. Good evening.
Good evening, Greg Fraser, Harbor Master. We are here tonight, or I'm here tonight, to request an amendment to our comprehensive dredge permit. As you probably know, several years ago, we got approval for an extension to the Eel River Channel, which is badly shoaled. In fact, at low tide, about 2 feet. We've had to put a shoal buoy right on it. You were gracious enough to amend our permit back then to dredge. The problem was that because of the soil samples and the core samples, it's not beach compatible for Minot Beach, where we typically put our spoils. So we spent about 2 years trying to find a suitable spot that the DEP would allow us to put these spoils. And we have partnered with Webner and DCR to use the outside of Washburn's Island as a beneficial use. So we're hoping to amend the permit to allow for the 1,700 cubic yards to go on the outside of Washburn Island.
Yep.
So is everyone clear that this is only to amend where the spoils of
Yep.
the permitted activities would go?
Correct.
Okay.
The dredging's already been
Every-
permitted.
Yep, everything else is all cast in stone, and the only thing is where that stuff ends up.
We'd like to thank the folks at Webner and DCR. They've been very, very helpful solving this problem, and as you know, it's been going on for quite a while.
Absolutely.
Greg, I have one quick question. Do they have a time of year restrictions out there for the plovers?
No, the only time of year is, well, ideally, we would like to get this done by the 15th, which would be the time of year restriction for the fish, even though,
So
we do
Natural
have
Heritage didn't comment on this?
No, they didn't. They're basically, we're, as long as we're done, birds would be April 1st anyway.
Yep,
Well, we're planning on hopefully getting this done before January 15th, so because the dredge area is under the fish time of year restrictions,
Okay.
not the bird.
we'll probably have to put the bird restriction on there. 'cause
Oh, it'll
it
be,
is- Yeah, now,
we'll be done way before the
Okay.
April,
But
and we would expect that it would have a
yeah,
bird
it's
restriction.
gonna have to have a bird restriction.
Um,
All right, that's fine.
I have spoken with the county dredge, and as you know, they're coming in to do the approach to Bourne's Pond.
Right.
That has a 4-1 bird time of
Yeah.
year restriction as well, but because we're trying to get this project done so badly, they have agreed to try to do them both before the January 15th
Okay.
window.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Just
please.
add to that, I believe that in the DEP letter from August, it references this table 5 in their attachment, which lists the
Time of year restriction.
time of years
Yeah,
of year there, so the overall time would be January through August, it looks like.
Yes, it's January
There-
15th through June 30th is the fish one, and then April 1st through August 30th is the bird restriction.
Actually, what they have on the table is January 15 through August 31st for the fish.
Huh?
They have alewife white perch.
Which I think would be Jennifer, you might, I think that would be a typo, because all of the bird restrictions that I've come across have always been April 1st. But at any rate.
that's the alewife and perch restriction. Yeah, we'll go through it.
Yeah, I mean, but even if you could issue the amendment with, subject to being done before January 15th, which is our intent anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I was just trying to
Yeah.
clarify this for the record.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there any other comments on the board? Any other questions? Mike?
Because of the expertise of everybody involved, I'm pretty comfortable that some information just that we normally like to see isn't required. For example, we don't have the SIV data. It's referenced, but we don't have it.
Okay.
The core
And-
samples? The core samples would have been part of were required for the dredge
The
permit?
dredging, we have that. It's in the
In the
dredging
original
permit.
file.
In the original.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the extension was actually not permitted under the,
That
it
was
was
a
a standalone. It
And
was a
then-
standalone, we
right.
did that. So we have a standalone file on the dredging for the extension. We're just rolling the disposal site into the comp permit.
Does that make sense?
I guess the short answer is yes, but I'd prefer to see it resubmitted or tied to it. I mean, we have a sample that says, sieve analysis of the material to be dredged indicated that a portion, what does that mean, of the material is free of natural, is fine in nature. What does that mean? I mean, you get a sentence that, who it's involved, that we're fine, but in normal course of events, we have more requirements on what we're saying here. And then the other one is because of who it's involved, I'm not particularly concerned about longshore currents, but who is ultimately going to become the owner of this sand as it moves down the beach?
I would say we
South
have
Cape Beach.
no problem providing the core samples that we did for the permitting. That should be easier for us to give you. And as far as the,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Then just tie it into this, because I say, because everybody has looked at this, I'm trying to be consistent from what we require of all applicants.
I don't have any
That's all I'm
problem.
doing.
We can do that. And as far as the sand, fortunately, the good part of this is the site that they selected is basically in the middle. So yes, the sand is going to move, but it's going to take a little while.
Yeah, it's not going to be a...
Mike, I can get you the sieve analysis data tomorrow. It's in the original, it's in the
That's
file.
fine, no, I'm comfortable because of who it is, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, I don't like
Yep,
the precedence of not requiring the same information for
Okay.
storm gutter.
Good, good.
And that's my 2 cents.
Is there any further questions or discussion on the board? Entertain a motion.
Move to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
I'll second that.
That's Mary's motion, and Russell's second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Sorry to be a pain.
Not a pain.
You're not a pain.
That's a good
Not
point.
a pain at all.
These are
Not
what,
at all.
appreciate all that. The next is to vote orders of conditions. First up is
Yeah.
55 Old Dock Road, Town of Falmouth.
The quorums for all of these are Mary, Russ, Tom, Mike, and John. Mary, Russ, Tom, Mike, and John. Yep. Old Dock Road, that's the repair of the dock. Pre-construction meetings, repair salt marsh after they're done. Hire a salt marsh restoration expert.
The sheeting is only on the north side.
Yeah. Make sure there's some sort of environmental monitor on staff, and we were told it would be the town staff, so it's most likely going to be probably Scott.
I think so.
Um,
Please.
I have a note about, there was discussion about installing a visual barrier just to keep on the, people
Yeah,
limit the trampling of the salt marsh.
yep.
Behind the work guys. Yeah.
I got a note here about administrator approval for the sheeting.
Yeah, they wanted to put that almost like temporary sheathing in
But
underneath the dock.
Yeah, only on the north side.
Yeah,
They
So
originally,
they have to come to you about it then.
if
well,
they're
they
gonna
had
use
it
it,
on the plan. Okay, so
Yeah.
come to me.
if they're gonna use it, they have
Yeah,
to let
because it
you
was
be
kind of
aware
up
of
in
it.
the air. They
Right.
didn't know.
Right.
Yeah. We may use it, we may not.
So
There is a,
all right, so we'll do
Leave the option
administrator
open for the contract.
written approval.
Not a good idea.
for temporary sheeting,
Or temporary sheeting if used.
correct.
Yep, okay.
How about the guardrail moving closer? That was mentioned too.
Yeah, it was, there was a suggestion for,
Okay, guardrail.
there's not a whole lot of wiggle room in
I
there.
don't care about the guardrail.
I know, I looked at it again. And I think that was mainly for pedestrians.
I don't
wasn't
know.
it?
Oh, yeah,
I
they
think
wanted
there was an
to, so
audience
people are
member.
able to
Yeah.
walk.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was,
That was a suggestion, because they want to be able to have people walk along that.
the west side isn't as bad as the east side. I think the
Nope.
east side was the one that was,
yes.
and of course, that's where the boat ramp is. And if you swing that, you end up where trailers are gonna go, where somebody's turning. I don't know, does it go over that far? No.
It is tight, and I wrote this on here for a reason, because I wanted to go back and look at it again, and I just,
Then don't move the guardrail.
yeah, I don't,
Put the guardrail right, guardrail stays right where it is. It was just a suggestion.
yeah, no, I
Yeah.
know, but I wanted to give it a good,
No, I,
I'll give it a good look,
response,
yeah.
good look into. I don't see how you can do it, really.
There's an awful lot on that site that's being worked on. And I think that between the audience's input and staff and
yeah,
everybody else, they realize that they're gonna have to be very interactive with the community over there.
Well, they are repairing the wall there also.
Yes.
That will hypothetically make that area,
A lot easier to
Easier.
traverse, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe that will help.
I know there'd be at least 10 kids jumping off of it. Is there anything else on the board? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this project? All right, if we have enough information,
Make a motion to close the hearing and take it.
ooh,
Sorry, wrong thing. I'll make a motion to approve as discussed.
Second.
well, John beat you to that. Russ's motion, John's second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is,
I was gonna second his motion to close.
you're a good man. Next is 471 Central Ave.
That was the raise and rebuild, with the pretty staircase, remember?
Yes.
And they did submit a new plan showing that location of plantings that you wanted to see, the existing native vegetation, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that. The only notes I really had on the old plan, were about you discussing that tree.
Well, yeah, they're gonna move 2 trees, and I wanted to put a condition in about what they must do if that fails.
Yes.
Replace pines if transplanting not successful. If not, okay, so they have to replace pines if the transplants don't take.
And that would be by,
You need a date, probably.
Okay,
Within the, when they go, it's a 3-year permit, and by the time they start this and get through, it's gonna be a couple of years of happiness in that. So it's gonna be close to the life of the permit, it's a 3-year permit, that,
Well,
yeah.
couldn't we include a condition that says they have to be living, by such and such a date that's beyond the life of the permit? And if something happens, they have to,
yes.
We can go past the timeline of the permit?
Well, no, because you're gonna have you'll have an ongoing condition that all the mitigation and plants and transplanted trees remain, survive.
Yep.
So if the trees die,
And then,
Yeah.
I don't think that they're gonna do, as I had suggested, the same size in there, because it's,
no.
at that
No.
point in time,
If
it'll
they
be a
don't
real chocolate
survive, they'll
mess to
have
think
to put
about
in
that.
like 4.
4 to
well,
6.
it's in a 3-to-1 zone.
So how many
Maybe
trees do you
6.
guys want? 6? Okay,
Yeah.
got it, 6 trees.
If they don't survive, I think
If
that's
do
a
not
a
survive.
real good incentive to make sure that, and they can survive. They may stress for the first season and a half type of thing, but to their point, they've been grown there, so they're used to that environment, so that's a
Okay.
plus. Are there any other additional concerns?
Did you want them to move that house back at all?
No.
To no? Okay, excellent. Cool.
Yep.
That was a
They're just lucky the stairs look so good.
Yep, nope, that's fine.
So,
The builder in you speaks.
yeah, that's it. It was, I was ready to really get, but just, it was really a very attractive gable.
Yeah.
It really was.
Move to adopt the order as discussed.
second.
Mary's motion, John's second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 259 Shorewood Drive. I know I got the,
The one that's on the south.
yes. 259 is
Okay,
the
they're
one with
putting,
the,
they're doing the boardwalk and
Yes.
the vegetation plan by Wilkinson,
correct.
and they moved the deck back,
The end of the boardwalk.
the end of the
Yeah.
boardwalk by a little bit.
Like 6
10
to...
feet, I think.
Yeah.
10 feet, I think.
So the only one I would say is that since Wilkinson did the plan. If they want somebody else, they have to come in and let us know what they're doing.
Yes. Not that they can't have somebody else, but
No,
just so
but they
that
have to come in before us.
so the contractor is aware of everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
I just have one more question.
Sure.
Please.
I personally like Mary's idea of putting bridging over the salt marsh.
You're gonna get shit
Well-
all right.
Yeah, I know, and then what was the you said there was been problems in the past with that, Jen?
Yeah, they've turned it to docks.
When you get that close,
You're going right to the water.
Yeah, right. There's no way to condition that
That's a velocity
effectively.
zone. No, and
Oh,
you
it's
can't condition
velocity.
it because now you're putting the onus on the staff to have to go there. You can't see the dock from that house
Okay.
on the road. You'd have to take a boat up there. That's a dangerous
Look at,
precedent.
yeah,
That is a velocity zone over there. Your regulations prohibit them from having a dock in that area.
Okay, I will buy all
I
that,
just wanted to-
particularly the
Yeah.
velocity zone part, but I do think.
Oh, I
that
understand what
we're-
you're saying. Oh, yeah, I understand
that
what you're
we're
saying. Then don't
opening
approve
up-
the,
Yeah,
then don't
I'd
approve the
rather
boardwalk.
not, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, then
approve
don't
the
approve the
walkway.
boardwalk.
Yeah, I just, I thought that was a good idea.
I think it's a pointless
but I see
walkway.
your point.
Oh,
Except
absolutely,
to
and
trample on
that's-
the salt marsh.
That's exactly what I asked them. Why are you
I know
having
you
this
did.
here? I mean, this is,
okay. Well, this props up, is there any further discussion about whether the dock, the dock,
Here we go.
Jesus. Yep, thanks for planting that seed. Great. Whether the white elephant I just talked about in the middle of the room, now see, if he hadn't pulled it back, I'd feel more inclined, but they're gonna walk, you're not gonna stop them from walking down to the waterfront. And this kind of controls the activity. That's the only plus side I see on this, is that giving an avenue, because they're gonna egress it, they've got appropriate decking on it. I just don't,
Well, I don't want to sound more wound up about this than I am, but I think it will channel the activity, but having a walkway there, I think will encourage the carrying of more stuff
oh, yeah.
as they go. So I don't know if I can call that controlling the activity.
well,
It is, most of it's in the velocity zone.
well, if that wasn't there, would people still bring a cooler and other things and be wheeling it down there to a certain point and then dragging it over there? Granted, they will have to do some negotiation through the lower end of that to the west, but I don't see you stopping people from accessing, particularly if that's their intent, is to have this boardwalk to get to there. That's why I'm
Mr.
You're
Chair,
probably right about that.
Mr. Chair, I believe it meets our regulations, and the applicant has a desire to have an architectural feature that maybe I don't appreciate, but that's none of my business. And I make a motion to accept the plans as discussed.
Okay. Didn't we already have a motion? No. That's Michael's motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Mary's second. Okay, any further discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Thank you very much. Next is, I believe, 257. I lost my cheat sheet. Here it is.
Yep.
257
That's the
Sherwood
raise and
Drive.
rebuild of the house right next door with some coastal bank improvements.
Yes.
The only thing the staff would recommend is not pruning the trees to maintain a height of 5 feet. They're previously managed black cherries, which is code for they were cut down without a permit.
So what is your proposal about that?
Just, they can prune them, but they have to be able to grow
To 5 feet?
No.
Over.
Oh,
Over. It's a vista pruning, it's not a clear topping.
Yeah.
you mean the new things?
Yeah.
Okay, because she said the others would not likely do that.
With the other,
The ones already managed.
Yes.
yeah, the new ones.
They've been permanently managed. Was there any other concerns?
Other than that, that's the only,
With that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to accept as discussed.
Second.
That's Russell's motion, Mario's second.
He's not in the quorum.
You can't second it.
Not the quorum.
No, not on this
you're
one.
not on any of these quorums.
Hereby retract my second.
Second.
And Mary's second. Thank you for picking up on that, Susan.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Any further discussion?
You'll be back in the action next week.
Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Next is 20 Nichols Road.
This is the core fiber roll installation, and I will be absolutely requiring you on-site with them prior to installation.
Outstanding. I think if this first project for this contractor goes well, and he doesn't pull his hair out, he may actually try a second time.
So I think that's going to be key there. Make sure they install them, they know how to install them correctly. They'll have the manufacturer there as well, and then have them plant them right away, so.
It's not an overwhelming size, so I
No, it's not.
think this is not a bad first-time thing. All right. Entertain a motion.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the project as discussed.
Second.
It's Michael's motion, John's second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention?
I'm going to
Unanimous?
abstain on this one.
Oh, there's one abstention. Mary abstains. The motion carries. McGansett Harbor,
Yes, that was the amended for Dan Ward. He's extending his grant size.
Oh, yeah.
The only
Yes.
recommendation I have would be incorporate the harbor master's new guidelines on aquaculture markings, which was discussed.
yes. So I would entertain a motion, if there's no further comment on that.
I'll make a motion to approve as discussed.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion from Russ and a second from Mary. Any other discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. I entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Mary's-
Second.
Mary's motion, Russell's second, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Unanimous, so moved. Mary, and then Russ.
Fence, whatever.
Aquaculture markings.